Hi, it's Professor Moylan, and this micro lecture is an introduction to the use of Gradebook in Blackboard. Now, in my humble opinion, Gradebook is not as intuitive as it should be. However, once you get a basic understanding of the lay of the land, you should be able to navigate your way through there pretty well. So I've brought up Blackboard. I brought up a class that has absolutely no grades in it, so we'll start from scratch. There's absolutely nothing here. So let's go ahead and see how we would create our gradebook. And for this class, here are my grade components. I'm going to have 3 unannounced quizzes that together are 15%, so they're 5% each. I will have 4 marketing projects that together are 40%, so they'll be 10% each. I'm going to have 1 midterm exam, 15%, and 1 final exam for 30%. Now, it's important to understand the Blackboard nomenclature. So here's the Blackboard nomenclature. Each grade component is a column, and then groupings of components are a category. So for my course, I'm going to have 9 columns, those 9 grade components, the 3 plus 4 plus 1 plus 1. And then I'm going to have 4 categories. The 3 quizzes, that's 1 category. The 4 projects, that's 1 category. The midterm is its own category. The final is its own category. Okay, so now that we know that, let's go ahead and head into Gradebook and start putting this together. We head into Course Tools. We go to the Grade Center, and we're going to go to the Full Grade Center. Now, there's nothing in here now other than the default columns, and the default columns are the last name of the student, the first name of the student, the username, the student ID, the last access, the available. Let's get rid of some of those columns. We can hide unnecessary columns. And truth be told, as far as I'm concerned, the first few columns, other than the student's last name, are pretty unnecessary. So we'll go in there and hide those columns just to make it easier to look around what's going on here. Now, I've got 3 columns total in my gradebook. The last name of the student, the weighted total, and the point total. Now, if you look at that weighted total, when I click down there, it says hide from students, on, off. I could hide that one as well. But take a look at the one next to it, the total that has that little green check mark. If I click down the down arrow, I can't hide that. When it has a green check mark, that means you can't hide that. And the way Gradebook is laid out, the total points can't be hidden. Now, there's actually a way you can do that, but let's not worry about that. As long as you make all points equal, that shouldn't be a problem. If you can't make all points equal, there is a workaround I'll show you. Now, here's my grades, my 9 grade components, and the percentages, and I'm just kind of eyeballing what might be pretty close so that a point is a point is a point, but I'm not quite there because when I really do the math, I see that, oh, okay, I meant for the quizzes to be 5%. They are, but the projects are slightly under, the midterm is slightly over, the final is slightly over. If I want to make those points perfect, I need to do a little bit of massaging of the numbers here, and there we go. I'm going to bring my total points to 1,000 so that each quiz is worth 50, each project is worth 100, the midterm is worth 150, and the final is worth 300, and therefore we've got our our 1,000 total points. If you don't want to come up with completely equal points, there is a workaround, but I'm going to let you go find that on your own. It's in YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Blackboard Gradebook total points workaround, and there's an instructional video there that shows you how to work around that. But most people are probably not going to be worrying about that, so let's just leave that be. Okay, here's my first column, my pop quiz 1. And then it asks me, will the primary display, and I'll make that a score, the points. My secondary display, I could make that a grade, I could make that a percentage, I'll leave it as a percentage. The category, no category. I have not set up my categories yet. That's okay, I can enter my columns and then go change the categories that they're in later on. And my points, I wanted each of these pop quizzes to be worth 50 points, so there's my 50 points. Okay, good to go. I don't have a due date yet, so I can leave this blank. I can leave this blank, create my gradebook, and go back in after the fact and put in my due dates. I'm not exactly sure when these are going to be. Now, manage categories. Here's where I'm going to go in and create the categories so I can put all my pop quizzes in a category and all my marketing projects in a category and so on. So that's going to be one category. I want the 3 quizzes. There's another category I want the 4 projects. I could put the midterm and the final in the same category, but I want to give them separate. So the midterm will be its own category. The final will be its own category. Okay, that's what I want to set up. And so to do that, I go into Manage Categories. And now I need to create categories. There are some default categories: assignment, blog, discussion, journal. Notice if it's got a box there, I created that. So I've already created the category for pop quiz. I've already created the category for projects. Need to go back and create those 2 last categories, midterm and final. If I mess up, I can move things between categories. So the pop quiz, I can go into the pop quiz and edit the column information and change the category that that's in. Notice here I've got one of my projects, the STP project, the Segmentation, Targeting, Positioning Marketing Project, and I've got that in the category Projects, and I've got the points possible 100, so I don't need to change that one. That's good to go. Here's a little check that I like to do. I'm supposed to be 1,000 points. I've created all my columns. How am I doing? There we go. My total points are 1,000. Haven't made any mistakes setting up those columns. And there are my columns: Pop Quiz 1, Pop Quiz 2, Pop Quiz 3, Project, 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 and so on. And so I've got all of my projects, but I don't remember my categories yet. And I would like the students to be able to see how they're doing by categories. So, I'll go into Manage, column organization. I'll get to the categories in a second. Calculated grade. That's what I want to do. I want to set up those columns for a category calculated grade. Also, notice where those things are: the Pop Quiz 1, Pop Quiz 2, Pop Quiz 3. Those are just in order that I created them. Ooh, look, Pop Quiz 3, I messed up when I created that. I didn't put it in a category. No problem. I can go back in to that column and manage the column and change the category. I'll go in later and change that to Pop Quizzes. That'll be good. Here are all of those columns at the front that I had hidden. Notice they're hidden there. If I want to unhide, I can check them, and unhide, but probably best to leave all those guys hidden right now if I want. Again, these are in the order in which I created. I like them to be in the order chronological, so I will go in here and manually move these things around, and to do that, you just grab the little tag there and move it up or down. Now the Pop Quiz 3, that's obviously going to be much later in the class, so I'll take that and push that down. There we go, that's down. Probably the last thing before the final exam. And if I go in and make some guesstimates as to when things are going to occur, I think that's probably about what they'd be: the pop quiz, then the STP project, and so on. Okay, I said I wanted to make those columns that are the calculated grade for the pop quiz, the projects, and so on. So to do that, I go into there, and then columns to select, Pop Quiz 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to put them in the category Pop Quizzes. It's going to ask me to give a weighting. Well, this one's pretty simple. I've got 3. They add up to 100%, so they're going to be 33.33333%. So I'll go ahead and do that for the quizzes. This drives me nuts about Blackboard. Take a look at this. I went like 6 decimal places on there. Oh, they don't add up to 100%. They add up to 99.99996%. Close enough for us. So now I've got my 4 calculated grades for my 4 components. I like those to be, up at the top so that students see those right away, so I can just drag those and move those on up. And just to check, let's see, I've got my pop quizzes, and I've got 3 pop quizzes that roll up to the category pop quiz. I've got my 4 marketing projects that roll up to the category marketing projects, my 1 midterm, and my 1 final. Okay, looks like I'm good to go with my setup here for Gradebook. And now when we look, I've got my 2 total categories up at the front, the weighted total and the total points. And then I've got my 4 calculated categories, my pop quizzes, my marketing projects, my midterm exam, and my final exam. Okay, got my gradebook set up. Now I just need to input grades as they come in. There are several ways to input grades. You can manually input the grade. And I might do that for my exams, Or if I put my exams in into Gradebook where the students into Blackboard where the students actually take the exam in Blackboard, I can have that set up to automatically grade. And assignments, I can have students upload the assignments to Blackboard, and then I view their assignments in Blackboard and grade it on the fly there and manually put the grade in. Those are the three most common ways that we'll get those grades into our Gradebook in Blackboard.